Shalom. Thanks for tuning in. This is Nava of Not Sorry Woman, Wife, and Mother. I have a testimony that I want to give on my recent area of sanctification, and that is in the area of makeup, of cosmetic adornment. As we know, in this culture, we're basically inbred almost from the very beginning of been bombarded with the idea that in order to look a certain way, you have to apply the right type of makeup. You have to wear your hair a certain way, and wear a certain type of clothing and all that kind of thing. And most women, from a very young age, where we buy into that. We bite the bait, basically, and I was no exception to that. Coupled with the fact that many of us grow up, either in a single family home, single mother, or if the father is present, he's not really a real presence. He may be there physically, but not really there emotionally or spiritually. And not to bring disrespect to my father at all. This is just, my life. I love my father very much. We have a very good relationship. But earlier on, my father was not a presence in my life. And what it did is it planted a lot of seeds of insecurity. And I began actually, wearing makeup when I was about 14, 15, somewhere in there. I was like a freshman in high school. And I started out with wearing eyebrow pencil and the eyeliner. And then from there, it escalated to wearing the foundation and the powder and the contour and blush and lip color and all these things. And, I guess like probably my late teens, mid to late teens, I got into modeling. I did that for a few years, and did some things. And, you're not even realizing it, that you're buying into a lie. You're buying into an industry of deception, of just feeding the flesh, the carnality, the insecurity, the vanity of American women. And all this, I actually knew the Lord. I knew Yah. But this was just an area of blindness for me. So fast forward, I came into the knowledge of the truth in the early 90s, probably about 91, 92, and began understanding the ancient paths, feast days, clean eating, the whole everything. This area of modesty, though, did not occur to me until probably the latter 90s. Not the makeup, just I got introduced to the head covering actually in 99, and I was still wearing pants, but shortly after that, it seems like it's just a natural course when the Holy Spirit and the Ruach begins to deal with you on the head covering. Usually a woman will begin to be dealt with. It starts from the head and it works its way down. So I stopped wearing pants by the leading of the Ruach. But the makeup was still, it was just not something that occurred to me. Not until probably, I would say 2004. I was a teacher online, Daughters of Zion Israelite Sisterhood, and the topic of makeup came up. And being that I was the imam of that particular organization, that group, I, did my research with my whole heart. I wanted to know the truth. And I was astounded. I was blown away as far as history. And I couldn't deny it, just from an American historical perspective, as well as the ancient roots of this practice. So I made the decision. The only thing that I did continue to do, because I didn't really, for some reason, I just really didn't consider eyebrow pencil makeup per se. I continued to wear that because I guess my excuse, I don't even know, I can't even say what my excuse was. Again, it was not a 100% full dedication. This is a sanctification issue for you, So I continued to wear the eyebrow pencil, but nothing else for many, many years. So I'm talking probably 10, 15 years. But I've noticed throughout that time, the Ruach is good. I continue to work out my salvation and continue to obey the Father as much as I knew how. He continued to, in his season, he began, pointing out certain things in my life, things where I was doing well and things that I needed to improve in. And this idea, this issue of makeup just continued to circulate throughout that time period. I would say probably in a maybe 5-year period. Every now and then it was like this ebb and flow. It would go away, and then there would be a season where everywhere I looked, that's what people were talking about. That's what I was seeing. No matter, like if I was looking at YouTube videos, I may not have been particularly looking for anything on makeup, but it was a suggested video. Just all types of scenarios. Not, even up until recently, very recently, because I was still wearing it. I was always wearing eyebrow pencil, but sometimes not the eyeliner. So my husband actually this time was looking at something on YouTube, and this young lady, I think her channel is Grace and Mercy. Her name is Tiffany, young sister, just full of the zeal of the Ruach. She was there, and he was watching her. He was just so impressed. He said, honey, you should really check her out. But the subject matter was not about makeup. Okay, it was something else. So I looked at a little bit of whatever it was he was looking at. And I was like, okay, well, that's fine. But then I looked at other videos of hers, and boom, there it was. Like one of the first ones was on why I stopped wearing makeup. And I'm like, okay. So I watched her, and the words that she spoke, it was everything that I knew. I'd already known. But the Holy Spirit, the Ruach, was really speaking through her to me and letting me know, you need to not do this. I am not pleased with this practice. This is a practice of the world. And I have called you out from amongst them. I told you to come out from amongst them and be separate. So I'm like, okay, Father, I'll do it. I'll do it. I knew I had to do it at that point. And so, there were things that were being said like, work with what the Ruach has given you. Work with what the Holy Spirit has given you. Take care of what the Holy Spirit has given you. I can't remember verbatim everything that she said, but I knew, like I said, the Ruach was speaking through her to me. And I knew that I had to make a 100% change in order to please the Father, because He is not pleased. And I guess in my thinking, as well as maybe in the thinking of you all who may be watching me, you may be feeling like it's just an issue of adornment, of grooming, because I thought that it's just something it's just the way that some women choose to groom themselves, adorn themselves, yeah, we may think that this is, a lot of women say that this is an issue of grooming. It has nothing to do with set apartness. As I said earlier, it's something that I thought too, and that's why I didn't take it as seriously. It was an area of blindness. That's the bottom line. But you get to a place, and the Father knows. He knows when you're serious. He knows when He has your attention. So you reach this crossroads, and I reached a crossroads. I knew I had to make the decision. So I did. This time, I took the brow pencils and threw them away. It's just like an alcoholic who says, okay, I've gotten to this place. I'm not going to drink anymore because I can't. And they have to throw it away, So that's what I did. It was an issue. I mean, for me, some people might say, well, okay, it's not a big deal. This is an eyebrow pencil. What does this have to do with who you are? You love Yah. You're the Father's continuing to bless you. He's continuing to give you revelation and into His Word. And Shalom, everyone. So this is part 2 of the video on my testimony of makeup, why I stopped wearing it. So as I said last, when I left off, some might say, well, this is not a sanctification issue. It's about an eyebrow pencil. What's the big deal? Why do you think the Most High cares so much about how we adorn ourselves, how we groom ourselves? Well, for me personally, it's all about my love for Him. I love Him, and that's what it's about. Do I think it's a salvation issue? Well, salvation is by faith. But, once we are saved, the next step is for us to set ourselves apart unto righteous purposes. So, we have to get to a place, or rather, I had to get to a place where everything that I had been confessing and believing as far as working out my salvation with fear and trembling had to be taken up a notch. I had been doing everything I knew, as far as living a holy life to this point. Eating clean foods and dressing modestly, walking in submission and obedience to my husband. Everything that a Hebrew woman should do according to the scriptures. When you consider this issue on makeup, it's not something that's spelled out. In fact, the only reference that I can even, recite, I can think of right now is in the book of Kings, where Jezebel was the one that wore makeup. And that should tell us something, though. This is not a custom that originated with our people. And if our people did participate in it, it was as has always been the case, imitating the nations, and where did they get them? So we have to look at that. Anyway, but for me, it's a personal thing. It's not something that I will ever be participating in again, because, as I said earlier on, for sure, if nothing more, it's an issue of it's something that does not feed our spirit. It does not feed my spirit. It does not cause me to want to be more holy. It doesn't increase the joy of Yah. It doesn't cause me to want to do good works. It doesn't cause me to want to be obedient to my husband. It doesn't increase my desire to walk in holiness. So what's the purpose? It feeds into your vanity. It fed into my vanity. It fed into my sense of confidence. But why are we using things to do that? That's of the world. If we have any confidence, the confidence is in knowing that we're in Yeshua, and it's Him, it's me crucified in Him. Nevertheless, I live, but not I, but Messiah who lives in me. So, the life that we live by faith in the Son of Yah, So again, where is our confidence? Where is our hope? It should not be in material things. And if our hope and our confidence is in anything except our Yah, then we're wrong, Anyway, that's where I am. And I would like to come back on another video, maybe the one after this one, and actually share with everyone what I've learned. I mean, my original research on this topic some years back, and pray that I will be, along with other sisters in the body of Messiah, one who a source of light, a source of help, a source of comfort. Because as I see it, I am my sister's keeper. So I hope there was something here said that, provoked thought and, gave you all something to think about. So I ask that you subscribe and, maybe give it a thumbs up. And, click the little bell. If you subscribe, click the bell at the bottom here. And, so that you'll get more notifications from me. Anyway, that's all I have to say on this right now, and I wish you all shalom.